Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to do a ranked family portrait on the last big house represented in my collection that we have not ranked the family portrait on yet. So far we've ranked pretty much all of the houses that take up a big percentage of my collection. We've done Roja, Amouage, Guerlain, Creed, you can go watch the playlist. We just recently did Dior, and now we're doing Chanel. So there is an insane rumor floating around, just talking out loud before we kind of get into this. I don't know if you guys follow Super Dacup, but he has a channel. Rich Mitch sent me to his channel previously to watch, fashion stuff. He's big into the fashion side of things, not as much, the perfume side like we are, but he's more into the fashion, the bags. He will break down a bag or a trench coat like this, or, the fashion side of the houses. And there was a rumor on his channel that came up. One of his subscribers said that a district manager from Chanel told her that Chanel is stopping production on everything because they are potentially in the process of being sold. Now, I kind of rolled my eyes at first, and the reason I rolled my eyes is because that's a rumor that's been floating around the campfire forever with Chanel. And so until I actually see it happen, I don't believe it. But it is something that, if that's true, that's huge news, because Chanel is one of the most major fashion houses out there, in my opinion. Although rumor is that the quality on some of their stuff, like their bags, some of the tricks that they're doing to save money and put profit ahead are a little bit shady. Like they'll do stuff like they'll make the entire bag in China, but they'll leave out like one stitch. And so the person in France will put that final stitch in there and say, made in France, just stuff like that. And I get it. I mean, global competition is tough on these companies. I get it. But you shouldn't be buying a Chanel bag that falls apart in a day or two. Some of those stories on the internet are a little worrying to me. It does feel like maybe they're taking a step back from what they used to be. Although on the perfume side, they're still a major, major force. And in fact, we're going to talk about some of my favorite fragrances of all time in this list. It's going to be a top 20, okay? It's going to be a top 20, even though I only have 19 fragrances to show you guys, because one fragrance I reviewed on my channel already, and that's going to be the last place spot. So you can go check out that review if you want to see what I think about the 20th spot fragrance on this list. But we're going to do Scent of the Day, and we're also going to do a quick unboxing. Now, this is not anything I purchased. This was actually sent to me very kindly by Lee from Fragnanimous. I've talked about him on the channel before. He sent me samples I plan on talking about soon. I just have so many samples to get through. It's just a matter of time, There's more Papillons, there's Rania J's, there's Juice Box, there's all kind of houses I want to talk about on the channel. I have samples of. It's just getting to it. More zoologists, so many new fragrances to talk about on the channel. So I have a ton of content to put out for you guys. But he reached out to me the other day and said, hey man, do you want to smell some new fragrances? And I was like, sure. I mean, I won't say no ever, and I always give him a shout out because he does deserve it. He is, if you're looking for indie stuff, if you're looking for Melegs or Arige Ladores, or if you're looking for, Bortnikovs, I would highly urge you to check out Lee from Fragnanimous. He's an amazing dude. Very trustworthy. Hard to find people like that nowadays is what I'll say. So let's see what we got. We got the usual care package from Lee. Thank you, my friend. I'll show your website in just a moment. You go over there for now. Actually, let me make sure it hits the trash. There you go. Okay. So, let's open this bad boy up. Let's see what's in here. This is exciting stuff. So let's see what's in the care package. Thank you, Lee. That's very kind of you, honestly. Single wear. What in the world is this? For best results in cleaner application, press all fluid to bottom, then cut a corner with scissors and apply. I've never seen these before. Single wear Parfum Pesana Haxon. Have you guys ever seen these pouches? I guess it comes in a little pouch instead of a sprayer. You know, the Bleu de Chanel, which I absolutely despise, and is the 20th fragrance on the list. I'll just give that away right now. Is came in a little pouch like that. If you go watch my review, there's a little pouch like this that it came in, but it actually had this mechanism where you squeezed it and some of it came out. This I've never seen. You literally have to cut. It's actually in a little pouch. Wow, crazy. Never seen these before. Haxon and Euthaya. Are you guys familiar with these? Haxon and Euthaya? I guess these are new Prin Lomros fragrances. I've just never seen these little pouches before. That really threw me off for a second there. I was like, what is this? Is this a wipe? Is this an alcohol wipe? What is this? Let me put this back in the baggie. Let's look these up real quick. Haxon, just out of curiosity. Okay. Haxon says, 2018. Green and spicy. Holy crap, there's a million notes. Sage, basil, spruce, oregano, beeswax, cypress, marjoram, vermouth, lavender, galbanum, saffron, chamomile, thyme, goat's hair, styrax, the million notes breakdown. I'm not even going to keep going. Sounds very interesting. All right, I will mark this on the list. And the other one was Euthaya. That came out in 2022. That's a brand new one, that Euthaya. That came out this year. Smoky Oriental, my kind of fragrance. There's a gunpowder note in there. Very interesting. Incense material. Myrrh, black tea, ebony, teakwood, patchouli, cumin. There's always a million notes with Prin. All right, let's see what else we get. We'll talk about that on the channel one day. I'll cut the little corner of the pouch and just, you know, dab it on my wrist or something before bed. Let's see what other goodies Lee included. Here we go. Okay. We have Cologne de la Terre. That's the new Bortnikov. How awesome is that? That's amazing. Very blessed to get to smell this. I love Bortnikov. Let me see what they say about this new Bortnikov. Cologne de la, not the best name, I'll tell you that. Cologne de la Terre. It's a little hard to look up here. Okay, 2022 Bortnikov. It is a cologne, it looks like. Bergamot, Litsea cubiba, which is that freaking flower that Roja uses to extend the length of the citrus note, to make it seem that the citruses last longer into the dry down than they really do. Pear, green apple, saffron, beeswax, ambergris, Siberian deer musk, and sandalwood. Cool. That's brand spanking new. Brand spanking new. Maybe I'll do a video on this, on these new ones as soon as I can, since I'm sure there's no content on these out there. I'm sure people are interested to hear what these are all about. The other one's a cologne too. Are these all colognes? This is Cologne Celeste. By the way, that's his website, fragnanimous.com. Again, I'd highly urge you to check it out if you are in the game for these type of fragrances. So the other one is Cologne Celeste. Cologne Celeste. I wonder if the third one's a cologne too. Lemon, Litsea cubiba, citron, pink grapefruit, mandarin orange, red mandarin orange, blood orange, damask rose, rose, beeswax, cedar, sandalwood, pine, and oak moss. So no oud. There is real ambergris and real deer musk listed in that first one, but this one is more fruity. It looks like beeswaxy, oak mossy, but no real oud or real musk in this Cologne Celeste. So that's interesting stuff. I wonder what the third one is. Cologne de Feu. Ah, Cologne de Feu. Reminds me of the Wheat de Feu. Cologne de Feu is 2022. These are all brand spanking new. Bitter orange, blood orange, Litsea Kubiba. Again, Bortnikov's on a Litsea Kubiba kick. Tangerine, lemon, petit grain, raspberry, tea, jasmine, peach, sorbet, cedar, sandalwood, guyakwood, Terminalia elliptica, and oak moss. I have no clue what that Terminalia elliptica is. But these all seem like fresh Cologne style frags. Let's see what else we got. American Pharaoh by Falk Winds. See, these are the kind of brands he carries that are freaking cool. You know, stuff like this I've never even heard. Are you guys familiar with American Pharaoh? Falk Winds. I have no clue, none, what that is. American Pharaoh, Falk Winds. This is a brand new one too, 2022. There's just so many brands out there. It's impossible to keep up. Cherry Wine Absolute, Mexican Vanilla, Arriba, Arriba, Black Ambergris Absolute, Sandalwood Absolute, Muskrat, Damask Rose Absolute, Mongolian Deer Musk. Oh man, there is a South Park reference in that. I'm not going to say it. Virginia Tobacco Absolute, Virginian Cedar Absolute, Abel Moschus. I don't know what the hell Abel Moschus is. Well, here it's going to tell me. Abel Moschus is a genus of plants of the mallow family. In perfumery, the seeds of the species Abel Moschus moscatus are being used. These are better known under the name ambrette seed. Well, why the hell didn't you just say that? Chili. Crazy fragrance. I bet you I'm going to like that one. Let's see what else we got. Cloud Illusions. Wow. Cool names. Same brand. This Focke-Wulf brand. Are you guys from... Sorry. Focke-Wulf. That's a fighter pilot. Fighter plane from back in the day. Falk Winds. Falk Winds. Let's see what Falk Winds is about. That's the brand, sorry. Let's see what Cloud Illusions is about. Orris Butter, Northern High Bush Blueberry Absolute. Wow, that's very specific. No, I mean exactly where's the blueberry from. Chewing Gum Absolute. Chewing Gum Absolute. Is that a real thing or are they fucking with me now? White Ambergris, Blue Cypress, Hawaiian Sandalwood, American Peppermint, and Musk. Does anyone know anything about this Falk Winds brand? They're brand new. They only have 3 fragrances and he sent them all to me. Santa Ana is the final one. Santa Ana. Let's see what Santa Ana is all about. Crazy note breakdowns, though. These are the kind of things I like, believe it or not. Mint, honeysuckle, white ambergris, rosa rugosa, no clue what that is, hay, liatris spicata, tobacco, sandalwood absolute, spices, apple cider, and propolis. I mean, these are all going to be interesting, I think. I'm excited. Good stuff. Thank you, Lee. So again, I'll give you a final shout out. Go check out fragnanimous.com. Trust me, I've used him many a times. I trust him. I wouldn't send you to him if I didn't. Even if he sent me these little free stuff, and if I didn't trust him, I wouldn't give a shout out to his site. But every time I've used him, everything arrived perfectly. And, you know, he's very reasonably priced. I think he ships within the US and Canada only, though, if I'm not mistaken. But I think he's working on international shipping. That should be huge if he gets it. But let me know which ones you guys are interested in hearing about first. Maybe I'll wear one of these as my scent of the day and talk about it tomorrow. But this just gives me so much content. I have so much content to do. as far as early impressions. But since these are brand new and there's nothing out there about it on the internet, I bet, or very little, maybe I will prioritize these. All right, let me put this back. Let me put this away so I don't lose it here. All right, well, uno momento, and then we'll get right into the Chanel list. Where do you want to live? You can live right there. Okay. All right, let's do this list, shall we? But first, let's do scent of the day. Sorry to clap in your ears if you had earphones in or something. Today is a good one, okay? Today is a good scent of the day. It's not great, okay? It's not what it, every time I wear this, I always think, man, this scent could have been great, but it is very, very good. The problem is it was something that came out in the early 90s. It came out the same year as Balenciaga Pour Homme, and it came out in the year 1990. It's a discontinued masculine. You know, I love my discontinued masculines. And this is called Moschino Pour Homme. Cool little bottle, breakdown, spades, heart, you know, it's on the cap as well. I actually took this to work today, though. I brought my bottle to work, and it was leaking all, like, whenever I'd spray it, I guess this, you can maybe even see a little bit of it right there, leaking. You know, it was just leaking down the side. I guess this little piece right here isn't on, and it kind of, you can see it spins. It's not supposed to spin. So I'm going to leave the bottle here. I'm not going to bring it to work any longer. This will be a wear when I'm at home fragrance now. But you can see it's a fragrance I absolutely love. It is compared many times to the leathers that I like. It's compared to things like Bel Ami, Fendi Uomo, Trussardi Uomo, but honestly, it's not as good as those. I'll tell you that right now. And that's the problem I have with this fragrance. It's spicy, it's leathery. I enjoy it. I enjoy what it turns into after about half an hour to an hour, much more than I enjoy the first blast. You know, the first blast, I just always think, man, I could be wearing Bel Ami right now. You know, why am I wearing this? I could be wearing Bel Ami. But after half an hour to an hour, it does turn into a nice, spicy leather. It has that orris root and leather combination, which I so love. There's a hint of castoreum, but not very much. Nowhere near as good as the castoreum that's used in, quite frankly, some of the fragrances we're going to talk about today with Chanel. And it's got this masculine lavender. I think it's the lavender in the opening that I don't care for as much. It's a little boring and it's a little generic, and but there is sweaty clary sage in there that keeps it very masculine. Rosemary. It's extremely masculine through and through, even though it has a floral heart. Carnation, jasmine, rose, and caraway. There's amber, there's leather, there's, like I said, castoreum, benzoin, labdanum, styrax, tonka bean, cedar, and oak moss. And I think this was put out when this is distributed by Euro Italia. And they do pretty good, they market their fragrances pretty well. They do good distributions. And this fragrance has actually a claim to fame. It's the only bottle I've ever seen. Now, this bottle, there's only one atomizer, but they actually have a bottle that has 2 atomizers, one on each side. I don't want to flip it over because I don't want the juice to spill if there's a problem with my with the little crimp here. But you can go look up pictures. Moschino Pour Homme, the original bottle, had atomizers on both sides. How insane is that? Actually, I just found a picture. If you go to parfumo.net and type in Moschino Pour Homme and click through the pictures, you'll see one of the original bottles with the atomizers. It looks exactly like this, but there's 2 atomizers. Who knows what for? Probably marketing purposes, but never seen anything like that again before, or probably will never see anything like that again. That makes no sense whatsoever, but that was my scent of the day. All right, let's get started on this Chanel Top 20. So, first of all, before I get into this, let me just say that there are a lot of you that are going to be upset at me because of this, because many people view Chanel as like a holy grail house, okay? People have very strong opinions on Chanel. I feel like most of my lists, I've been able to put anything out there and rank them in the ways that I feel, which I will always do. This is my ranking, my preference. And I think most people kind of, they go along with it when it comes to Guerlain. I've had some disagreements here and there. Oh, you left this out, you left that out. Chanel, there's a lot that's going to be left out. Again, this is only a top 20 with a top 19, really is all it is. It's not even a top 20 because of the fact that, because of the fact that the first fragrance we're going to discuss, I don't have anymore because I threw the sample away because it was such shit. And so there's a lot of stuff from Chanel that you're going to see that I just don't have, okay? There are a lot of the exclusive collection that I don't have. They're high-end line. We'll talk about them when we get to them. So I have a lot of chance to grow my Chanel collection. It's a house that I want to add more from, especially from their their high-end line, which we'll talk. I don't know the name of it, but I'm sure someone will leave it in the comments. So let's get into this. Let's get started. So the first one we are going to talk about, just very briefly, very, very briefly, is we are going to talk about Bleu de Chanel. And Bleu de Chanel comes in at number 20 on the list for me. And the reason it comes in at number 20 on the list is because of the fact that I hate it. I despise Bleu de Chanel. It just smells like cheap, disgusting shower gel. Every Bleu de Chanel I've smelled. Yes, I will be fair and say the EDT and the EDP have this incense grapefruit thing, which is semi-nice, but I don't like blue fragrances. I already own Sauvage Parfum. That's my blue fragrance. That's all I need. And I never wear it, to be honest with you. I only kind of spray it on at night and remind myself how much I don't want to smell like everyone else. And if you want to go check out my review of Bleu de Chanel, it was the Parfum I reviewed, to be fair. I have not reviewed the EDT or the EDP on my channel, but I have smelled them before. I mean, they're ubiquitous. You can go to any department store. You don't have to go to special Chanel counters to smell, Bleu de Chanel. And it's just, to be fair to Bleu de Chanel, Jacques Polge created an entirely new genre. The best-selling Bleu de Chanel EDP, probably, the Eau de Parfum, is the best-selling Chanel. Maybe the best-selling fragrance in the entire department store. Maybe Sauvage is, but that genre that Jacques Polge created before he said, bye, I'm transferring over power to my son, see ya. He created something that just turned into a phenomenon for the average person that just wants to pick something up, spray it, and smell good anywhere, any place, And that's not niche. That's not fragrance enthusiasts, okay? Most fragrance enthusiasts hate those type of fragrances, and I raise my hand as one of those that is one of the people that hates those type of fragrances. So go check out my review if you want to probably laugh, because I did absolutely annihilate that fragrance. There were a couple comments people left me that, they took a little bit of an offense. I was a little mean to their love, Bleu de Chanel, but you know what? So what? That's the whole reason I started this channel, is because there weren't enough people saying what they felt, what they really felt. There was too much ass kissing on YouTube, too much sucking up for free bottles, and offending the brand and all this stuff. And so I want to say what I want to feel. If the brand gets offended, the brand gets offended. Oh well. I'm not relying on them. I don't have a gravy train of free bottles coming in. All of these bottles were purchased with my own money. So, to be frank, I can say whatever I want about them. So, Bleu de Chanel, any iteration, Parfum, EDT, EDP comes in last on my Chanel list. Now, second to last is a fragrance I have a 10 ml decant of, and it's a good fragrance. It's not that it's a bad fragrance. It's a decent designer fragrance. It's just way too sweet for me. Way, way, way too sweet for me. But I still enjoy it more than Bleu de Chanel, because I feel like this is maybe a little bit less ubiquitous in the society. When I walk around Walmart or Target, I don't smell this everywhere, okay? And this is Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême. Now, one thing I will tell you about this fragrance right off the bat is that, to me, and I've tested this fragrance in multiple weathers, this smells best when it's hot as hell out. Like, we're talking 100-degree plus Texas heat, the dead middle of summer, is when Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême smells the best, okay? And it only lasts probably 4, maybe 5 hours if you're lucky, okay? 4 to 5 hours is what this lasts. It's mandarin orange, mint, and cypress. To be fair to this fragrance, the cypress note in here is beautiful, and I do think cypress is an underutilized note, okay? I think cypress should be used more in perfumery, so I have to give them, you know, the hat tip. But the reason this comes in at number 19 is there's this boring, peppery, mid, slight clary sage. Mostly what I get is black pepper, and the base of this extremely sweet tonka bean that kind of dries down to this generic white musk. Very boring. Touch of woods. There is sandalwood and cedar. And the ingredients, I mean, it's a Chanel, okay? First of all, Chanel doesn't make bad fragrances, so keep that in mind. Everything on this list is good. There's nothing bad. It's all personal preference as to how it's kind of ranked around. Whether your number 20 is my number 1, you know, your number 5 is my number 10, so forth and so on. But Chanel does not make bad perfume. You know, if you said, hey, Ramsey, I've been sniffing fragrances for 10, 20, 30 years. Chanel is my favorite house. I would say spot on. Cannot argue with you. In fact, if I had to wear one fragrance for the rest of my life, the fragrance that's at the top of this list would very much compete for that, you know, spot. I think right now I would pick it. I would. If you said, Ramsey, you have to wear one fragrance and that's it, go, pick, that's what I'm going to pick. And if you guys know me, you probably know which one is at the top of the list. But for me, Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême, it kind of sits in the Bleu de Chanel category in that it's what beginners into the fragrance game want to wear. That's the kind of stuff. Or younger men, okay? Less experienced men, let's say. More juvenile. I always get, sweetness to me always comes across as juvenile. That's the reason why I don't necessarily like sweetness. I like stuff like this. You know, I'd much rather wear something like this. There's very little sweetness in Moschino pour Homme. These kind of fragrances for me are much more elegant, much more masculine, traditionally masculine, and much more grown up. You know, there's some gravity. There's somebody that has experience in the world. They're not just out smelling of sweet bubblegum and candy and you know, that's for the boys. We'll leave that stuff for the boys. The men, for me, I picture the men wearing something more distinguished, and that's the problem I have with sweet fragrances. Okay, 20 and 19 down. Number 18, and again, some of you are probably going to be upset by this, but I have to be honest. This is my ranking, and this is where I'm putting it. Number 18 is number 5, Eau de Toilette. I don't own the Eau de Parfum. Number 5, Eau de Toilette. Honorary mention, I do own number 5, is it called Low, maybe? Hang on one second. I'm going to grab this real quick, because I just remembered I do have a sample. Oh, shit, I put all these samples in here, didn't I? Oh, I'll never find it. Let's see. Or will I? Or will I find it? I just wanted to show you guys. There's a Chanel sample that I stumbled across, and I was gonna say that I will talk about it on the channel very soon. I was gonna give it an honorary mention. Ah, here it is. Number 5, Low. It is called Low. Chanel number 5, Low. They sent this to me when I bought Le Lion. And so I will do this will be an honorary mention fragrance, number 5, Low. I'll do an early impression on that one very soon. I think it's obviously a little fresher, and it's supposed to bring number 5 more into the modern era, if you will. Okay, let me put these back. And again, to all of you who kind of sent me samples over the over the year of me having my YouTube channel. Please be patient. I will talk about it. I promise. I'll talk about, my plan is to talk about every single damn sample that I have, even if it's the shit stuff. I want to put a video out there on it. I want to create kind of a library on my thoughts on that particular fragrance. And so I plan on doing a lot of content, but stuff like this, you know, they sent this to me a year and a half ago, whenever I bought Le Lion, you know, and it's just sitting here still. I haven't talked about it yet. So I will. I promise I'll get to all this stuff. But getting back to number 5, Eau de Toilette. This one came in at number 18 because I struggle with this. Honestly, I do. There's something about the mixture of that lemony aldehydic neroli with that floral. I don't know what it is, because I never kind of have this reaction to florals the way I do with number 5. But there's something about the EDT specifically. And I wear this to bed. Actually, I wear it to bed all the time because I keep trying to figure out, I keep spraying it before bed. I keep trying to figure out what it is that's bothering me. There's something that's really bothering me in this. And maybe, you know, to be fair, I did buy this off of somebody and there's not much left. Maybe he or she didn't take good care of it. You know, this is an older, you know, travel atomizer. You can kind of see right there, number 5, Eau de Toilette. So who knows? I mean, maybe this wasn't taken care of as well. But the fact that it's in this black lipstick atomizer, and the fact that sunlight can't get in, my guess is it is well taken care of. I think this is probably from the 80s or 90s. And this is the best-selling fragrance of all time. I think I read something that a bottle of number 5 sells every minute or every second or something crazy on earth. I can't remember. But number 5 came out in 1921. I mean, you all know the story of number 5. It's just, for whatever reason, I struggle with it, and I don't know why. I wish I could tell you why. However, there is one version of number 5, which I think I like the best. And the reason I think I like it the best is because there's this animalic touch to it. And I need to find a real bigger bottle, not just these little drops I have. But this is number 5, Eau de Cologne. And you can see, I mean, this bottle is just absolutely shot to shit. But it is number 5. There's no doubt about it. I don't think it's a fake or anything crazy like that. I just think this bottle is just, look at this. I mean, who knows where this was, right? And this is earthy, animalic floral is how I would describe it. You still get the aldehydes. You still get the lemony aldehydic, you know, floral opening with that iris, jasmine, lily of the valley, rose. There is a ylang-ylang note in the Eau de Cologne, which is actually missing from the Eau de Toilette. There's this custard-like, almost like blended floral, this ylang-ylang floral. But the base has amber, oak moss, musk, patchouli, sandalwood, vanilla, and vetiver, which makes sense when you look at the EDT. Those notes are, the EDT has amber, sandalwood, vanilla, and vetiver. Okay? So here, what they've done is they've added 2 important notes. They've added oak moss, which makes it even more masculine to me. And they added civet, which I love animalic fragrances. And so that's why I prefer the Eau de Cologne of number 5. So number 5, Eau de Cologne, comes in at number 17. Number 16, and again, some of you might think this is the greatest masculine fragrance of all time. For me, it's at number 16 because I really struggled to wear this. In fact, it was almost behind number 5. When I first made the list, it was behind number 5, and I ended up moving things around. But I ended up settling for it at number 16. This is Chanel's Pour Monsieur. Now, this is the EDT. Okay, this is what the original Eau de Toilette. Well, actually, the original came in a came in a packaging that said Chanel a gentleman's cologne or something, gentleman's cologne. So if you ever see one that says Chanel for men cologne or something like that, Chanel gentleman cologne, that's what the original, and the tagline for the fragrance was the mark of a man. How about that marketing being used today? I would love it if they used some marketing like that today. Now they stay away from everything gender. They just avoid it altogether. You know, I like that. And I like that Amouage used to do like for men and for women. And, you know, a man can wear the women's one, a woman can wear the man's one. But I like that divide. I know many people don't now. Many people like the fact that everything is unisex. I don't. You know, I like that they used to make fragrances for men and be proud of it, where it says the mark of a man, you know. Anyways, rant off. But Pour Monsieur, for me, the reason I struggle with it is because it's a citrus chypre, is how I would describe it. This is a chypre that's very fresh, and literally on my skin, this lasts an hour. I mean, seriously. So if I wear this, I just have to douse myself in it. There's no other way to wear it. It's not very enjoyable. All day, I don't pick it up. You know, I'll spray it. It's gone in 30 minutes or an hour. And Rich Mitch says it turns to bleach on his skin. And I know what he means. It's because there's this citrusy lemon. So there's lemon, there's vervain, there's neroli, and there's orange. And there is this orangey bit to the top. But it's really this citrusy, fresh lemony-ness that you tend to get with a very old school. You know, many of these vintage fragrances that I love, to me, many of the vintage fragrances that I love, you could go back to the 20s with stuff like Shalimar. It doesn't smell dated to me at all. It does not smell like you are smelling something old school. It smells modern, as if it was made yesterday. Something like Shalimar. I wore Le Bleu to bed yesterday. What a stunning scent. You know, that doesn't smell dated at all. This smells dated to me. I don't know why, but this category specifically, this citrusy chypre, smells extremely dated. And, you know, I don't know why. It just does. So I struggle to wear this because I don't enjoy it. Same with Eau Sauvage by Dior. I put them in the same category. You know, this citrusy, fresh, masculine fragrance. It's just, you know, it's not my style. Is it very elegant and classy and all that? Yes. This is old money. Old money doesn't have to shout, right? It sits very close to the skin. The only way they can smell you is if they get right in your scent bubble. And so, you know, it's, is it one of the greatest masculines of all time? Maybe, technically. Maybe it's one of the best chypres, but for me, I just don't enjoy it. So that's why it's here at number 16. Number 15, and this is really interesting bottle here because this I purchased from Anouge at Enchanté. Thank you, Anouge. And this is actually what they used to give away. This is what they used to give away to their customers when you bought a bottle. You buy a full bottle of something, you get one of these for free. This is Chanel number 22 Eau de Toilette. Look at the back. Compliments of Chanel. Look at the mils. 19 mils. 19 mils. So when all these little niche companies give you a sample and it's like 0.5 mils or 1 mil sample, you know, they're super greedy with everything now. They act like they're doing you a favor if they give you a 1.5 mil sample. Let's see what Chanel samples are now, just out of curiosity. How much are you? You don't say. I bet you're 1 mil. I bet this is a mil. Okay? It looks like a mil sample to me. It's probably on the little card that I threw away. But let's say it's a mil. This was 19 mils. 19 mils. And I love these things. Look at this. And the other thing is, look at the bottle. It used to come in a bottle. An actual bottle. Look at that. Look at the juice. Look at the cap. You know, I mean, look at the attention to detail they put in the bottle they used to give away for free. So, I mean, many people ask why I love vintage perfume. There's a million reasons why, but the quality was unmistakable back then. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out, you know, what they've done as the years have gone on. Everything has gone down, 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 down in quality. The quantity has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller till they now put things in even a pouch. They don't even give you, you know, that Chanel. Go watch my review of that Chanel Bleu de Chanel parfum review where I had to squeeze the pouch, you know, in this little cheap paper thing. I was ready to I threw it out. I was so mad. But number 22, to be fair to the scent, interestingly enough, if you go to all of the databases, so if you go to Parfumo, Base Notes, they all say number 22 Eau de Toilette came out in 2007. It's impossible because this is an 80s bottle. Look at the ingredient list. Actually, there is no ingredient list on here. Yeah, there is no ingredient list on here. There is a not for individual sale, but this is way older than 2007. And this is the Eau de Toilette. This is the Eau de Toilette. So this number 22 Eau de Toilette is not 2007. That's just when they released it in the modern Les Exclusifs or whatever they call it. The original number 22, which you can find number 22 Parfum if you go through the databases. The Parfum came out in 1922, and it was actually created 1 year after number 5, and Ernst Beau was the creator. This is an amazing floral. I like this more than I like number 5 for some reason. God, there's just something, I don't know, I think it's the incense. The only thing that makes sense is it's the incense in the base. There's a little bit of this wispy incense that mixes with the aldehydic floral in the top and mid that is just beautiful. And even though this is not my style, okay, this is not the kind of thing that I would wear, you know, when I'm dressed like this. I like to wear my masculine fragrances when I'm dressed like this, when I have to go to work and stuff like that. I prefer to reach for the old masculines. I just do, right? But when I'm lying around the house on a Saturday and I just want to smell something beautiful and I'm not going to go be around, I mean, I could easily wear this to work too, but normally it's not the kind of thing I just naturally reach for. But man, you have to just step back in awe of the beauty of number 22. I mean, it is shockingly beautiful. And this was supposedly a lighter variation, they say, of number 5. So it was one of several scents that Chanel exclusively sold at their boutiques. And it was supposed to be a lighter variation of number 5. And I did mention number 5 is sometimes like a drill to the head, you know, for me, for some reason, especially the EDT. This, I don't get that. So maybe it is a little bit of a lighter version, but I like it way more. So number 22, so happy to have found this. I mean, this 19 mil, this would be a perfect size for someone with a big collection. You can wear it, you can explore it. You can, you know, 19 mils is a ton of wares, and but you don't have to commit to buying a full bottle. So Chanel, if you're listening, bring stuff like this back, please. Please bring stuff like this back. You don't have to give it away for free, but I mean, it would be nice to get stuff like this again if you're trying to distinguish from the rest of the companies. But anyways. Let's move on to the next one. Number 14 is a 90s Chanel. The original came out in the 70s, I think, but this is the Eau de Parfum version. And I still have it in the wrapping. This is Chanel's Cristalle Eau de Parfum. And this is actually a vintage bottle. You can see, I don't know where the ingredient list is, but look at that. Chanel, Montreal. This is a Anouge special. This is an Anouge special. And this is 125 mil splash. Oh shit, I just took it out of the freaking cellophane. I said I wasn't gonna do it. Go back in there. I always have a hard time getting it out. Okay. Let me get the bottle out for you guys. I like to keep it in the cellophane so I can just wrap the cellophane back over it. And there she is, 125 mils of Cristalle Eau de Parfum. This is beautiful, to be fair. I think maybe I would have liked the Eau de Toilette a little bit more. This is heavy. The Eau de Parfum is heavy stuff, but it's green and fresh. Bergamot, Lily of the Valley, Mandarin Orange, Peach, Lemon, Hyacinth, Iris, Jasmine, Brazilian Rosewood, Oak Moss, and Vetiver. And that Oak Moss and Vetiver in the base does make it, I think, very easy to wear for a man, okay? I think the way that Chanel uses the Oak Moss and Vetiver in the base, two traditionally masculine notes, anyone can wear this. But this is a very cold and calculating perfume to me. There's another cold irisy galbanum fragrance that's coming up later on that I like even more, higher in the countdown. This also has a little bit of a cigarette feel, almost like the incense I was mentioning with number 22. The wispy incense is kind of here, but it literally smells a little bit like smoke, maybe like even stale smoke, maybe like I used to smoke in this jacket, and it's, you know, summer, so I set it aside in the closet, but then come back to it when the next winter rolls around, and you can still smell remnants of the smoke caked into the jacket. That's a little bit what Cristalle Eau de Parfum's smoky side feels like. Very interesting fragrance. But I think maybe I should have went for the Eau de Toilette, but who knows? Maybe I'll decant some of that one day or sell some, because I don't think I'll ever wear 125 mils. Okay, number 13. Number 13 is the Eau de Parfum of Chanel's Pour Monsieur. So this came out in 2016, okay? And the Eau de Parfum is a reworking of the Eau de Toilette Concentrée, which is number 12. All right, so Eau de Parfum is number 13. The Eau de Toilette Concentrée is number 12. Now, back in the day, they didn't want to call things Eau de Parfum for men. They didn't think men wanted to wear parfum, right? Men wore cologne, or they wore Eau de Toilettes. They didn't wear parfum. So what they came up with was this Eau de Parfum Concentrée, right? Which, what's a concentrated Eau de Parfum? Or what's a concentrated Eau de Toilette? An Eau de Parfum. But they didn't call it that back in the day. So the difference between these two is that the Eau de Toilette Concentrée is discontinued. The notes, if you look up the notes, are identical. To my nose, there's more oak moss here. There's more texture. I like the Eau de Parfum, or I like the Eau de Toilette Concentrée a little bit more. However, this version, the Eau de Parfum, is very, very good. And I really like how the myrrh, there's this sweet myrrh note in the base and vanilla. And sometimes vanilla is needed. I know I give this sweet vanilla fragrances a hard time, and much of it is deserved. But when you take the original Eau de Toilette that has that bleachy, citrusy, you know, lemon petit grain, it has this petit grain-like feel, you know. Imagine like citrus sticks. Imagine if you could like break citrus sticks. And, you know, it has that feel to it, which I honestly don't like very much. But I do like this one more because the vanilla in the Apopanax makes it more wearable for me. But the Eau de Parfum feels much more modern in a way. It almost feels like they've ramped the sweetness up even more, whereas the sweetness in the Eau de Toilette Concentrée is much less. It's much less sweet. I think they've kind of they've tried to make this fragrance more accessible for modern noses is what they've done, okay? So I prefer these two, but we've got number 13 and number 12. The Eau de Toilette Concentrée wins out between these two. Okay, number 11 is one of the only decants. It's the only decant on this list. And it's something I want a full bottle of, and I will be doing a video on this soon. This is a stunning, beautiful, stunning fragrance. The original came out in 2007, I think, when the Les Exclusifs came out, and then they changed it to Eau de Parfum in 2016. I'm pretty sure Rachel told me that this came from an Eau de Parfum bottle, but I have worn this. I've worn this to bed once, and I just sprayed it on a card before the video. Oh my God, it is so good. Oh, that is just stunning. That is full bottle worthy for sure. This is 31 Rue Cambon. Rue Cambon. I don't know what the 31 means. I'm sure someone will leave it in the comments. Plus, we're already at 50 minutes and I'm halfway through. But 31 Rue Cambon is this beautiful green, floral, irisy, peppery, labdanum and patchouli fragrance. The labdanum, the cistus in the base with the patchouli is absolutely stunning, but it's the iris that is the secret weapon here. The iris in this is one of the best irises I've ever smelled. This is, oh my God, this is dreamy. I mean, this is, for an iris lover, this is an iris lover's dream. I cannot believe I haven't smelled this before. And, you know, sometimes as a collector, you kind of go through, you can't buy everything. You just can't. Well, maybe you can over time. You can kind of collect the stuff you really want to collect, but you can't just run head first and go from 50 bottles to 600 and just buy everything. You know, it happens over time. This is a decade's worth of collecting that you're seeing behind me, right? But there are some fragrances and some houses that you should not skip fragrances on. And to be fair, Chanel is one of those houses where there's a lot I have not smelled before. Just to give you an idea real quick while I'm pulling this up. Never smelled 1932, never smelled 1957, never smelled 28 La Pausa, never smelled the original Allure, any of them. All right, never smelled Allure Blanche or Sport, or never smelled Beige, never smelled Bella Respiro, never smelled Bois, never smelled Bois Noir, which I know turned into Égoïste, but I've never smelled Bois Noir. Never smelled Chance, never smelled Coco Noir or Coco Mademoiselle. Never smelled Gabriel Chanel. Never smelled Gardenia. Never smelled Jersey. Never smelled Misia. Never smelled. You see what I'm getting at here. There are a lot of Chanels that just skip my radar. There's just too much out there. You can't collect everything. I went for what I liked, and I kind of left everything else alone. But circling back, and thanks to friends in the community and, you know, stuff that because of this channel has fallen in my lap, 31 Rue Cambon is straight in my sights. This is a beautiful, deep, rooty iris that is just, it has that carrot seed powderiness to it. It smells so high class. This is, I mean, if you were, you know, if we had to go meet like the Queen of England or something, no, the King of England now, but if we had to go meet the King of England and, you know, my wife was like, what should I wear? I would be like, wear this. I mean, smells so high class, so posh, so bourgeoisie. It has that Chanel sparkle to it that is just irreplaceable. And the iris, honestly, it's one of the best irises I've ever smelled. Amazing. I can't believe that skipped my view. That skipped my, it's just one of those things that happen. 31 Rue Cambon, but it is firmly in my view now. So that's number 11. Number 10, top 10. Number 10 is the Great Coromandel. And this is the Eau de Parfum. The Eau de Toilette is even better if you can get it. But you know what? I'm happy with this. I can't complain. I think it's a beautiful fragrance. It's a beautiful scent. And, you know, I would recommend this to any patchouli lover. Coromandel is, you know, there's something with this chocolatey or white chocolatey patchouli in this that is just, I mean, anyone can wear this and smell amazing. Coromandel, what are the other notes in here? It's been so long since I've looked at it, and Coromandel, I can't spell, Coromandel. There we go. Coromandel, Eau de Parfum. Bitter orange, neroli, orris, jasmine, patchouli, rose, benzoin, woods in the base. Musk, vanilla, frankincense, amber, and white chocolate. Yeah, but that patchouli, that earthy patchouli in here, it really is perfection. I mean, this is one of the best patchouli fragrances of all time, and this is actually the reason that I never went for a bottle of Xerjoff Richwood. I thought Richwood was probably the, you know, Xerjoff Homme is my favorite Xerjoff. The only other Richwood, or the only other Xerjoff I ever smelled that I thought was full bottle worthy was Richwood. The problem is, it smells so much like Coromandel. And since I already have a bottle of this, it's kind of hard for me to just push everything aside and go spend $600 on a Xerjoff. But that's the great thing about smelling a lot of fragrances, is you can kind of, you can pick your spots. Excuse me. Number 9. Number 9 is one of my favorite green fragrances of all time. Probably my favorite green. Well, I don't know if it's my favorite. I'd have to really think about that. But I will do it. This is not a top 10 green fragrance countdown one day for you guys. But this is going to be up there. This is going to fight for the top spot. But here it comes in at number 9 because there's so many other Chanels that I love so much. This is number 19. And, you know, I know there's Extrême and Parfum versions and all this stuff, but I prefer the Eau de Toilette. And look at that juice. I mean, how beautiful is that juice? This is a vintage splash of number 19. It was completely sealed when I got it. I probably should have left it sealed, but hell, I bought my fragrances to wear, so why should I? You know what I mean? This is, look at this. It's just a work of art. These Chanels are an absolute work of art. Such simplicity, and yet it's so beautiful. Oh, God. Oh, man. Let me tell you, if green fragrances are your thing, and if you kind of have my taste in that you like traditionally more masculine fragrances, I would say go for the EDT. Because the EDT tones down that floral mid, if you will. There's a huge floral heart, and it is still here. It's beautiful. But I think it tends to focus a little bit more on the galbanum in the top and that oak mossy, woody, leathery dry down that you get with the EDT. The florals are still there, but the EDP amps up the florals. If you want more florals, go for the EDP. It still has beautiful iris. This is an amazing iris, just like that 31 Rue Cambon, which, God, I can't stop smelling. That is absolutely stunning. Oh, man. But the EDT of number 19 has this unbelievable galbanum iris with that oak mossy leather dry down. Oh, it's stunning. This is a stunner. I mean, when you wear this in the right weather, when it's spring, the flowers are blooming, you whip out number 19 EDT. My God, man. Is there anything better, you know? That's why I say this is a subjective list, but everything Chanel does is good. Number 8. Number 8 is one of the greatest sandalwood fragrances of all time, and that is Égoïste, the original Égoïste. So this is the original, or one of the older formulation bottles. Thank you, Anuj, by the way. So the silver cap indicates that it's older. This is an old tester from back in the day. And this is the one with the real Mysore sandalwood. And it is, I mean, there is something extra here that is not in this, okay? You can tell by the color of the juice. There are differences. I mean, look how different they are. This, on the other hand, though, is a newer version. I don't know exactly what year. It's 0601. I don't know how to check Chanel years, but Égoïste in this version is still amazing. I love the new version of Égoïste. I think this is a fantastic reformulation, and this goes to prove that Chanel, or houses that have in-house perfumers, as Rich Mitch has said many times, do the best reformulations. Even though the juice color looks different, this lasts a lot longer. This doesn't last as long, but I reapply anyways. This is just amazing. Égoïste, in its modern formulation, is very good, and its vintage is great. It's one of my favorite sandalwoods. It does have this, Francois Demachy and Jacques Polge had this way of making the rose in their perfumes, and you notice it in some of the stuff they did for Ungaro as well. Just kind of like appear from the background, almost like the rose is like entering a rock concert from the, from the smoke. It just kind of appears gradually as the fragrance plays out. And it's so beautiful. The rose note is masterfully done. The cinnamon in here is stunning. The mahogany and rosewood gives it a twist. Little bit of tobacco in the base with leather and vanilla. And of course that sandalwood. It's so creamy and buttery, and I just love it. I love this stuff. I can't believe it was a commercial flop. I can't believe it didn't sell. Apparently they burned through like $50 million advertising Égoïste, and it wasn't selling in the 90s. People were already moved on to stuff like New West by Aramis, or, Cool Water. That's the stuff that was selling. So, but thank God Chanel's kept that around. Okay, next on the list, number 7. Number 7 is one of the best feminine fragrances of the 80s, in my opinion. It is, I'm so glad to have this bottle. Let's put it this way. I'm blessed to have this bottle. I think I got this from Moudessir, but it's a short ingredient list, a vintage bottle of Chanel's Coco. And I wore this the other day to work a couple weeks ago, I believe it was. What a fragrance this is, man. This is going to get a lot of wear. You are going to get a lot of wear. Coco is right up there with my favorite. Oh man, this video could be me just sniffing all of these and going, oohing and eyeing over each one of these. Coco is, to me, I think it's a great holiday or this time of year. This dressed up like this, because it does have this oriental spiciness to it. There's this oriental spicy pimento and cinnamon, and of course there's that beautiful iris that Chanel uses so well with Angelica, which can sometimes come across slightly musky with frankincense and benzoin, but it's this honeyed patchouli and honey, which are two notes that go together like milk and cookies. Patchouli and honey is a killer combination, and then you add this perfectly dosed civet. So classy, so beautiful. I absolutely love Coco, and I would love to smell all the variations, but honestly, I think this is all I need. This is all I need. And if you like this style, try Ungaro's Diva. Came out a year before Coco. Or try Teatro alla Scala by Crizia. That one came out a couple years after, but it's amazing. Okay, number 6 is probably the best sandalwood fragrance that isn't made by an indie niche house that's using real Mysore sandalwood, you know, or something like that. Because probably my favorite sandalwood is Santal Galore by Arise Ladore. That is full bottle worthy for sure. It's a unicorn, possible to find, but the sandalwood in that is out of this world. But this is probably the best sandalwood I've ever smelled in just a regular run-of-the-mill. Yeah, I can't call Chanel run-of-the-mill, but like a Chanel, Dior, Guerlain, you know, those kind of houses, Creed, you put all those houses together, Roja, add them all together, this is the best. This is the best sandalwood I've ever smelled. This is a vintage eau de toilette bottle of Bois d'Azil. And you can see it's a 200 ml. There's a lot of air in this bottle. It's a partial I bought from Moudessir, but this is the old eau de toilette. And this fragrance is, I think, the best sandalwood I've ever smelled. And the reason I say that is because when I think about what a sandalwood tree looks like, there are these little flowers that come off it, these little red flowers that grow out of the sandalwood. You smell everything in this. You smell the sandalwood, but you even get this perfect floral touch. Like you're just smelling the perfect representation of that sandalwood tree. It is mind-blowing. So classy, so elegant. You know, this is a perfect work fragrance for me. If I'm dressed like this, I mean, you'll smell better than every single person in that entire place. Wherever you work. Wherever you work, no one's going to smell better than you. Bois d'Azil is one of the epitomes of class, in my opinion. And that's what Chanel does so well. There's that sparkly bergamot, mandarin orange combo at the top that just really reeks of class. I mean, it reeks of taste, number one. This shows that you have amazing taste if you wear this out in a social situation, to me, because it's never overdone, never screaming, never shouting, very intelligently dosed, but what a fragrance, man. Bois d'Azil. And unfortunately, this had to beat it out because I love this style. Bois d'Azil almost came in ahead of this, but I just couldn't do it. I mean, I love this fragrance. I love the fact that Chanel put it out, even though people gave him a hard time for copying, you know, Shalimar and all this stuff. For me, it's different enough because of the labdanum. This is one of the best labdanum fragrances I've ever smelled, or one of the best labdanum heavy fragrances I've ever smelled, and this is called Le Lion. This is one of the only bottles in my collection that I regret not buying the 200 ml. I wish I would have bought the 200 ml of this instead of just the 75 ml, but my God. Resinous, smoky. The labdanum is just the rock star of this show, along with some other things like bourbon, vanilla, sandalwood, patchouli, slightly citrusy, slightly bergamot in the top, but mostly it just gets overtaken by the labdanum and the, you know, resins, and something a little bit smoky. Labdanum can sometimes come across as leathery and smoky, and so for this time of year, Le Lion is absolutely perfect. I kick myself for not buying a 200 ml of that. And number 4, we're getting down to the big dogs. Number 4, I really struggled with these. Number 3 and number 4. Number 1 and 2 were no-brainers for me. Number 3 and 4 I really struggled with. Number 4 is Cuir de Russie Eau de Cologne. Now, the Eau de Cologne is long discontinued, and this is an absolute gem. This might be this might be one of the best bottles in my entire collection. I got this from an Italian seller called Antonio. I will share his information with you if you are interested. He has given me the okay that yes, I can share his information. I trust him, you know, even though we've only worked together once, we have had lots of back and forth. I've sent a lot of people to him, and there's the bottle. Look at this. I mean, is there anything more beautiful? Look, if you look inside, you can see 75 proof on the inside. and there's the Chanel sticker on the bottom, the authenticity sticker. But what a perfume this is, man. I mean, this almost came in number 3. Oh, fuck. You know, there is something, whenever I talked about Koros on my YSL countdown video, I used the word primal. I said Koros is a very primal fragrance. There's something about the leathery civet in the base of this that really makes me feel like this is a very primal, ancient. That's another good word for Cuir de Russie. This fragrance feels ancient. It really feels like there's some years on it. And not just one lifetime, like generations, you know, like you're smelling all of the combined knowledge of a family, you know, over the generations. The floral heart is amped up in the eau de cologne, okay? That is the difference to me. The between this and the next one, which is going to be the eau de toilette at number 3. But the eau de cologne made number 4 because of the fact that it is more floral. It feels like you're smelling the florals from number 22, number 5 of old, but then it transitions into this animalic, leathery heliotrope with vanilla and amber, and it's one of the best fragrances I've ever smelled, period. I mean, one of the best fragrances I've ever smelled. Cuir de Russie eau de cologne. And this was sealed when I got it. Unbelievably lucky sealed. I had to peel off the seal when I got this. And so, yes, this is an absolute gem, an absolute find. I did spend, you know, some decent amount of money on this, but I'm so glad to have it in the collection. So that's where the eau de cologne comes in of Cuir de Russie, number 4. Number 3 is the eau de toilette. And the reason that number 3 is the eau de toilette is because the eau de toilette, to me, and here's the 80s bottle that I have. If you ever see this bottle, get it. Get it. I sent a sample to Rich Mitch, and he loved it enough that he actually went out and found himself a bottle. And we wore this together one day on a stream. If you want to hear 2 frag heads just kicking the shit and talking about one of the best fragrances of all time, go watch one of the last streams Rich Mitch and I did together, and you'll hear about this. The eau de toilette is much more leathery. It doesn't have that big floral heart. It really goes straight into that smoky leather, but yet there is this Chanel poshness about it. You know, how something so animalic, and I always think about horses and carriages. I always think about Anastasia in, you know, Russia at the turn in 1905, or, you know, before the communists came over and killed her family and took over the country. You know, I think about fancy ballrooms in Russia with amazing chandeliers, and you think about this dichotomy between the ultra rich in Russia, who were at the top of the pyramid and had everything, anything you could ever imagine they had at their disposals. You know, ballrooms of food and music played by hand and dancing and, you know, all that stuff. And then you think about the average person who struggled in the country, who struggled to even heat their home and stay cold, you know, stay warm and stuff like that. There weren't enough firewood. There wasn't enough food. Everyone was always hungry. That dichotomy, for some reason, shows up in this. And I always get, you know, one of the royals from the, you know, Tsar Nicholas, right? I always get something like Tsar Nicholas walking into this carriage dressed in his military garb, right? And yet there's feces on the floor there's horse dung on the floor. The horses have that animalic smell to it. So imagine the picture of, you know, the ruler of Russia, one of the most powerful men in the country, and then contrast that with, he can't just get in a car like we do today. He has to get in a carriage, right? There's that kind of vibe, that back and forth. And that is an amazingly hard thing to do. How do you contrast something that is so posh and elegant with something dirty and animalic and leathery and ancient, right? Ancient knowledge. How do you do that? They did it here. Somehow. I don't know how. But when I wear this, I mean, my brain just goes off to another planet. I think of all kind of crazy stuff. The leathery spiciness of this is... I mean, if it wasn't for this final fragrance and its flanker, this would be number one. There would be no way any other fragrance from Chanel could compete with this. It is that good. So that's number 3. Number 2 is a flanker. And it came out in 1985. And it's called Chanel Antaeus Sport Cologne. Okay, so there's a run on this fragrance. And maybe it's my fault because I did hype this up. But you know what? It deserves to be hyped. I hype stuff that I feel deserves to be hyped. This deserves to be hyped. And is it hard to find? Yes. Sometimes when you're collecting vintage fragrances, you have to put something on a list that you want and hunt for it. And sometimes that hunt may take years. Sometimes that hunt may take years, literally. You don't just collect everything you want in a day. Like I said, it doesn't work that way. You may have goals, you may have fragrances that you want, but sometimes it takes you a long time to find those fragrances. This fragrance was that for me. It took me years to find this fragrance. Years. And so the way that I would describe Antaeus Sport Cologne, and the reason it's number 2 and not number 1 is just because the classic is so... I mean, it's one of my favorite fragrances of all time. If I had to pick one for the rest of my life, the original would be it, which is number 1. But what they've done here, what it smells like they've done, is it smells like they took Antaeus and they removed the myrrh, okay? So Antaeus has a note of myrrh. Where that myrrh is, I don't know. I get it pretty early. Some people say it's in the base, some people say it's in the mid, some people say it's in the top. But they remove that resinous myrrh, okay? And myrrh has this thickness to it. You know, it has this weight, if you will. So when you remove the myrrh, it feels much lighter. And they added a couple things. There's artemisia, there's peppermint. There's no peppermint in Antaeus, the original, but there's peppermint here, which I don't really get, to be honest with you. Maybe very slight, maybe for a second or two, and then it's gone. But they kept the rose, pepper, mace, jasmine, and leather. They added vetiver, I believe. I don't think there's any vetiver in the original Antaeus. Let's take a look. I wasn't prepared for this. Let's see. Yeah, there's no vetiver in the original Antaeus. So they removed the myrrh, and they removed the clary sage and stuff like that. And they basically created something that smells almost like a caricature of what you would expect someone in Jacques Pols's position to create if he was making a sport fragrance. They just took Antaeus and they went, oh, you want a sport fragrance? We'll just take like a couple of the heavier notes out and add like vetiver. Here you go. And you're like, when you smell this, you're going to be, if you get a chance to smell this, you will be absolutely stunned. This will knock you for a 6. All right, you'll be knocked on your ass that this is a sport fragrance. There is so much castoreum in here. Maybe the castoreum is actually the same amount as Antaeus, okay? But the difference is that without that myrrh, you can peer through it. You're like holding a sniper rifle with the scope, and you can just peer straight into the heart of Antaeus Sport Cologne. And what you find is one of the best castoreums of all time. You know, the castoreum that made the original Antaeus at number 1. Now, I have multiple versions of this, okay? This is the older bottle where the eau de toilette is written above Chanel with the, you know, gold reflective top. This is the newer bottle, but still this version is discontinued. They reformulated it, and the way you can tell is the atomizer on the new one is not silver. It's actually black. So it's like this. So look at the black atomizer on the Égoïste, and look at the silver atomizer on the vintage Égoïste. So the silver atomizer will tell you that this one's older. So I'm guessing this is about 20 years old. This bottle is probably from the turn of the millennia, 2000, 2001, 2002, somewhere around there is my guess. 5501 is the batch code on this one. And this one is an 80s bottle. This is an 80s bottle of Antaeus. They're both amazing, stunning to me. All I would say is just try to find one that has the silver atomizer. You don't necessarily have to find the original one with the gold, silver on top and eau de toilette above Chanel. Just find one with a silver atomizer. Because the new black one, atomizer, while still good, Chanel does good reformulations. They have an in-house perfumer. Chanel does not make bad perfumes, okay? It is different. It's different. I've smelled it in a department store. I don't have a bottle. I don't have a decant. I can just tell you from what I smelled, it smells like it's lost a step. It doesn't have the funk. It doesn't have the masculine funk, okay? It's Antaeus neutered. Okay, and so rumor is this could be discontinued soon. Anoush thinks it might be discontinued because they're chopping the ancillary products. So like the shampoo, the aftershave, all that stuff is getting discontinued. And that's a sign that potentially the soap is being discontinued. That's a sign that they may potentially discontinue the fragrance, which would be an absolute shame because this is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. And number one on the Chanel list is Antaeus. But again, for me, if I didn't have Antaeus Sport Cologne would work just as well. These are neck and neck. But since this is the classic, this is the one that came out in 81 that changed everything for me. And if you want to read an interesting story or see one of the most iconic advertisements of all time, go to Parfumo.net, type in Antaeus, click on it, and click on the pictures and look at the advert of the man holding the giant bottle of Antaeus over his head. It's iconic. One of my favorite advertisements of all time. And the name. Do some research on Antaeus, the name. But that's my top Chanel countdown. Sorry it was an hour and a half, but I do tend to ramble. And we did a quick unboxing earlier of those decants. So let me know what you think of my countdown. Like I said, I know I'm missing a lot of Chanels. I will write that. 31 Rue Cambon is square on my list. And, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your favorites are. Let me know what your favorite Chanels are and how you would rank them. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for the support you guys have given me. I really am enjoying making these videos for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos as well. But just from my perspective, I'm loving the interaction, the community we've kind of created here. I really want this to be a place where fragrance lovers can come together and share ideas and talk about, different fragrances they've been wearing and that kind of stuff, and have some engagement. So yes, I mean, that's kind of my thought. I appreciate everyone watching, commenting, all the stuff you guys do. Even though I don't ask you at the beginning to like and subscribe, it does help with the with the exposure. We want more people who are like-minded to join us in our journey, and we want this little place of ours to grow, but we want it to grow with the right people. But liking and subscribing and commenting and all that does help the algorithms as much as I hate it. You do have to cater to the algorithm sometimes. So thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers, guys, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.